Shalom, give me one moment. We're going to be starting in a bit. Shalom, Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushua Barakathon to the brothers, Yahweh Shamar Athon Ba'Shem Yahushua to the sisters. I am priest and officer Shargapan of the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge. Started out of 1 West 125th Street, Harlem, New York, under Commanding General YAHANNA. And since 1969, what we have been doing all across this globe is to wake up so-called Negroes, so-called Hispanics, so-called Native Americans to their real identity, letting them know who they really are according to this Bible. Like we do every Wednesday, you always need at least five notebooks, one for history, one for law, one for language, one for scripture breakdown, one for brotherhood. Today, what you want to be doing is making sure all your notes are either in your brotherhood or your scripture breakdown notebook. You definitely always want to have your Zondervan Pictorial Bible Dictionary. It's always a great tool to have. You always want a dictionary at hand as well. You can use a Merriam-Webster's dictionary. I like using Merriam-Webster's dictionary online. I find it very useful and effective for myself. You always need some pencils or pens to take notes, some highlighters. Make sure you're taking down these scriptures and taking down these points. And today what we're going to be getting into is our second class on women. We're going to be talking about women. As you can probably see from the title is My Kind of Woman. Not necessarily my kind of woman, but in terms of the Bible, and what the Lord wants, and what a man should want, and what a woman should want to be like. So again, the title is My Kind of Woman. We're going to be talking about women and how women should be and how women should not be. All right? You're going to go into the book of Proverbs. All right? The book of Proverbs, we're going to start at the 31st chapter. I'll give you all a few moments to get there. And for all of you who are on Facebook, I'm going to put the link to our YouTube channel. That way you can go and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Go ahead and subscribe. Take a few moments. Support this truth. Yeah, we do have a YouTube channel. No Cowards Hudson Valley on YouTube. The link I have put right here in the chat. And also, let's not forget to take attendance. I'm posting the link for attendance right now. Make sure you take attendance. It is very crucial. Make sure you take attendance. It's very crucial for us to know that, you know, you're shedding yourself of the world. You're starting to change yourself and take on the identity and culture of your own people. So right now we're going to jump right into it. The title of today is called My Kind of Woman. Again, it's not necessarily my kind of woman. Well, it is my kind of woman, but it's the kind of woman that every man in the UPK wants. It's the kind of woman that the Lord wanted all his daughters of Zion to be like. All right. So we're going to start at Proverbs chapter 31. And to start, I want to start at the first verse. Proverbs 31, the first verse. All right. Now it says, the words of King Lemuel, the prophecy that his mother taught him. So what we're going to be learning about right now is all the things that the mother of King Lemuel taught him or told him. You know, these are all the things that he is now sharing with us, that is being shared with us from what King Lemuel was taught by his mother. And when we get to the verse I want to go to next, which is verse 10, we're going to be seeing the kind of woman that King Lemuel learned from his mother, how the woman should be, how the perfect woman for her son would be. And this is how every daughter in I.S.U.P.K should be and is for every man that they're with. All right? So let's go down to Proverbs chapter 31, verse 10. It says, who can find a virtuous woman? For her price is far above rubies. So when we think about this, you know, most people, when they see the word virtuous, you know, Christian mentality comes into their thought. Oh, she has to be, righteous. She has to be moral. She has to have good conduct. You know, she has to be all about the Lord. Yes, that is true. But more importantly, a virtuous woman is a woman with skill. A woman who is not lazy. A woman that knows how to make things, produce things, create things with her own hands, bring things to life. That is what a virtue, that is what it means when it says a virtuous woman. Who can find a virtuous woman? Who among us is able to spot a woman that has great skill? A woman that's able to make things happen and make things come to life? Because her price is far above rubies. You take the most expensive item on earth. You take $1 billion hard cold cash, American dollars, and big face hundreds. You take all the diamonds on earth, all the rubies you can hold in your hand, and that still would not equal a daughter of Zion who is virtuous. A virtuous woman is worth more, is invaluable. There's nothing that equals or comes close to her worth because she is such a virtuous woman, a woman that has skill. All right. Now I know a lot of days, you know, you have these Christian women that go to church and think that they're virtuous, but they're constantly running their mouth, constantly don't know how to be quiet, shut their mouth. They don't know how to make things. They'll probably burn their pancakes while serving it to you. All they know how to do is shake their behind, go on Twitter and Instagram and Facebook Live and talk about how niggas and spics ain't shit, how their baby daddy is a bum, how they don't need a man, how all they're worried about is summer 2020 and this is going to be their year. All they're worried about is living their best life. But hardly any of them, close to none of them, are even worried about how to be a virtuous woman, how to be a woman with skill. Let's drop down to verse 11. It says, the heart of her husband doth safely trust in her, so that he shall have no need of spoil. Now, a man like King Lemuel, a man that has a woman that is virtuous, has a woman that is skillful, has a woman that knows how to bring the bread home and put it on the table in front of him. A woman that knows how to create things with her own hands and bring things to life. That is the kind of woman that a man does not need to worry about. His heart, his mind, safely trusts in her. He trusts her to do the right thing. He doesn't have to worry about her sitting her fat ass at home on the couch watching Maury all day. He doesn't have to worry about this wicked woman sitting down at home watching Love and Hip Hop while there's dishes still in the sink since earlier that day. He doesn't have to worry about this woman that he sadly decided to sleep with and come home to see that the laundry is still piled up in the living room dirty. If they have kids, that the kids haven't eaten yet. That she's just sitting at home doing absolutely nothing with herself. This is the type of woman that a man does not trust in. He does not trust in a woman that can't work with her hands. He can't trust a woman that is lazy, that is idle, that does nothing with herself. But a woman that is virtuous, a woman that can make soap from scratch, a woman that can make beaded jewelry, a woman that can make her own jeans, a woman that can make her own laundry detergent, a woman that can create her own body butters and incense to sell, a woman that can braid hair, a woman that can make dresses and garments and headpieces, a woman that can cook and serve her Adawan, her Lord, her brothers. That's the kind of woman that a husband can trust in. A husband, a man, can safely put his trust in her, because since she's doing all of these things, he has no need of spoil. He doesn't have to worry about, now I have to work extra hard to go get this money. Now I might have to, I took the mask off. Now I got to put the mask back on and load the 4-5 and go out and take something from someone. He don't have to go sell drugs. He doesn't have to go rob. He doesn't have to go steal. He doesn't have to go kill, because his mind safely trusts in her to do the right thing. He knows that she is also his support. That way he doesn't have to go out there and make the wrong decisions just to support his household. For everyone that's now joining us, Shalom, Yahweh B'Hashem Yahushua Barakathum. To the sisters, Yahweh Shamar Alatham B'Hashem Yahushua. I'm Priest and Officer Shargapan of the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge. Right? In the Hudson Valley, New York, whether you're living in Rockland County, Westchester County, Dutchess, Putnam, Orange County, or wherever you are across the globe watching this right now. Shalom. Right now we are in the book of Proverbs, chapter 31. We're on verse 11, moving on to verse 12. All right? Proverbs 31 and 12. She will do him good and not evil all the days of her life. So what this is saying is that this virtuous woman, the women in the I.S.U.P.K, women who joined the I.S.U.P.K, they learn day by day on how to be a virtuous woman. These type of women will do her husband good all the rest of his life. All her life, she's going to do good by her husband. As long as that husband lives and is with that woman, she will always do good by him. She will always do good by him and do good for him and do good to him. She's not going to be a loudmouth bitch that many of us that are all too familiar with. She's not going to be sitting on her lazy behind at home. She's not going to be disrespectful and dishonorable. She's not going to take all the money that her husband makes and instead of buying food to put in the refrigerator, instead of taking that money to wash clothes, instead of taking that money to pay the rent, to pay the electric, to pay the gas bill, to pay the cable bill, she's gonna take that money and pay to have clothes to put on his back, her back, and on their children. She's gonna use that money wisely. But a woman that does evil, a bitch who many of us are all too familiar with, whether it's your evil baby mother, whether it was you growing up and you were seeing how your own mother treated your dad and kicked him out the house. Or some of us might be in relationships right now where the woman that you're with just drives you up the wall. She drives you insane. You come home, you give her money to spend on the rent. She goes and buys red bottom shoes. She goes and buys Louis Vuitton bags. She goes and buys Dolce & Gabbana belts and sunglasses and gets her front lace and back lace and weave put in, her nails done, instead of paying the rent. Instead of buying food to feed the children, she going out with her homegirl to a spa. Meanwhile, you're at work thinking your wife is doing the right thing. You're thinking you're at home working and she's paying the rent, paying the cable, paying the electric, paying the gas, buying food. You know, you're thinking that she's doing all these things. You think that she's being honorable to you. You think that there's no way she could be texting other men and having other men send what they call dick pics and sexting with other men. That's not something that you're thinking, because a good woman, you won't have to worry about that. With a good woman, you can safely put your mind, you can safely trust in her. But an evil woman does this type of things. An evil woman is the type of woman that has a man, but is sexting, sending nudes to another man. An evil woman that does her husband evil is the kind of woman that takes the money that her man gives her and buys herself expensive items. She doesn't worry about the household. She doesn't worry about putting food in the fridge. She doesn't worry about making sure that the rent is paid or the electric bill is paid. She doesn't worry about that. In the I.S.U.P.K, we have tons of women that will do their husband good all the days of her life. For as long as she lives, she's always going to do her husband right. But women not in the I.S.U.P.K, women in that Christian church, women in that Muslim mosque, women in Egyptology, women who believe in feminism and empowerment for women over men. These are the type of women that are evil, and whatever man that they are with, Lord be with them. Because that man is going to suffer all the days of his life. As long as that woman is attached to that man, she will do him evil. He will constantly have to worry about what this woman is doing. All right, let's move on to verse 13. Proverbs chapter 31, verse 13. She seeketh wool and flax, and worketh willingly with her hands. Now, what is this talking about? What's wool? Wool is the fur that comes from sheep. What's flax? Is another type of material. And what does this virtuous woman do? This virtuous woman, she gets wool, she gets flax, and worketh willingly with her hands. She takes all these materials and she works them. She sews them. She knows how to make shirts. She knows how to make jeans and pants and dresses and skirts. She knows how to make clothing for her husband, for herself, for her children, for those that live in her house. Take it a step further. This woman knows how to make clothing from scratch, that she's able to clothe those out who are needy, the poor, the orphans, the fatherless, the motherless, those who are widows. This virtuous woman does all this. She goes out and looks for all types of materials and fabrics and linen to produce clothing, to produce material that her whole household can wear. And those outside of her household, those people of her nation, she's able to supply them with clothing as well. This is the kind of woman I know I want. This is the kind of woman I know many of the men in the UPK want. And this is what many of the women in the I.S.U.P.K do already. They're skillful already. They know how to work with their hands and produce items to give to their husbands, to their children, to their household, to donate to the school, to give to the people in the street. This is the type of woman every man should want. A woman that knows how to make things from scratch. A woman that knows how to work with her hands. But most importantly, it says, and worketh willingly. Willingly. Her husband doesn't have to tell her, listen, I need you to make me a new pair of jeans. Her son doesn't have to say, Mom, my shirt has a hole in it. Her daughter does not have to say, Mom, my dress is getting too small for me. People who are suffering out in the street, Black, Hispanic, and Native American men, women, and children out in the street who are homeless, who are hungry, they don't have to complain about their shoes being tearing apart, or them being too cold in the winter, or them being too hot and don't have the right things to wear in the summer. This woman, this virtuous woman, the women in the I.S.U.P.K, worketh willingly. They willingly do these things. They see what their husband is wearing and they think to themselves, my husband needs a new shirt. They see the hole in their son's shirt while they're washing his clothes, and they see that my son either I need to fix this shirt for him, or better yet, let me make him 2 new shirts. A virtuous woman sees that her beautiful daughter is growing into a princess, and that she needs skirts that are more appropriate for her size, and automatically does this. A virtuous woman goes about and walks around shopping and out with her family and whatnot, and sees the people that she normally comes in contact with that normally, are underprivileged, who are suffering, who are struggling. And she sees, okay, this person I saw the other day, they need an extra layer to put over them because it's cold outside. It's summer right now. That sister right there who's struggling to support her children, she can't purchase her a more breathable dress. Let me make her a breathable dress. This virtuous woman works willingly. She willingly wants to do this. She does it because she wants to. She does it because it's the right thing. She doesn't wait to be told. She doesn't wait to be advised. She doesn't wait for people to complain. She automatically is attentive to the people around her and to the things that they have. And she willingly works with her hands. Let's drop down to the next verse. Proverbs chapter 31, verse 14. To everyone that's on YouTube, Shalom, Yahweh Shai to the brothers. Salaki, Yahweh Shemar Latam Bashim Shai to the sisters. Yahweh Shemar Latam Bashim Shai. Yahweh Bashim Shai Barakatah to the brothers. Salaki. Little parched. Salaki, forgive me for that. To everyone watching on YouTube and Facebook. All right. Proverbs chapter 31, verse 14. It says, she is like the merchant's ship. She bringeth her food from afar. Think about how we get our food. How we get, oranges and avocados from Mexico. How we get bananas from Puerto Rico or from Venezuela. It has to be plucked and put onto a ship, and it sails across the ocean, whether it's to the West Coast, California and Oregon, Washington State, or whether it's on the East Coast to Florida, Georgia, right here in New York in the Hudson Valley, or whether it's going to Canada, or whether it's being shipped to the UK. All this type of food gets put on a merchant ship and travels to all its different destinations. Well, this virtuous woman is the same way. This virtuous woman travels all over the place, all over the town, all over the city. She might even go to a different state to bring back food. To bring back the food to her household. Let's say she's making a wonderful dish for her household today. She might go to this supermarket to get one thing. She might have to travel all the way to a farm in Rockland County to get fresh corn. She might travel all the way to Westchester County to get something else. She travels far and wide to bring back food to her household. to bring back food to feed her family. She's like the merchant ship. She travels all over the place to bring back different types of goods to her husband, to her household, to her children. This is what a virtuous woman does. Verse 15. She riseth also while it is yet night, and giveth meat to her household, and a portion to her maids. This woman is so virtuous that before the sun is even up, like many of you women already do, before the sun is already up, she is already up before everyone, before the sun, and she cooks for her family. She cooks for her little daughter or her little son that she's going to take to school. She makes breakfast for her husband, who's going to get up in an hour to get ready to go to work. She feeds her household. And back in ancient times, we used to have people of our household, servants, who would work for us and live with us or live next door to us. This woman not only feeds her family, but feeds feeds her brothers and sisters that work for her household, that work for her husband. That's how virtuous she is. Most women wake up, out there in the world, they're so evil and wicked, they make themselves breakfast. They make themselves a pot of coffee. They don't care about the man that they just slept with. They don't care about their husband, their boyfriend. They might worry about their children because, the children's their moneymaker. If they were to ever divorce their husband, they can bank on getting child support. Meanwhile, their husband got to wake up and rush and walk into the kitchen and see that there's only half a omelet left, that there's barely enough coffee for to make a cup of coffee. Women in the UPK, they're not like that. Women who join the UPK, the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge, they're taught to get out of that mindset. They're taught to care about the people in their lives. They're taught to care and honor and love and serve their husband. They're taught to make sure that their children are taken care of. And here in this verse, a virtuous woman even took care of the people that worked for her, that worked for her husband, that worked for her household. The men that worked for her husband out in the fields, herding sheep, she made sure that they had food in the morning. Even though they may have women to wake up and to cook them something, but that virtuous woman got up early to cook for those women, and her husband, because they work for her household. This woman is such a virtuous woman, and this is what every woman should want to be like. Sadly, in the Christian church, they don't raise them that way. Sadly, in single and the majority of single parent households out in the world, they don't raise their daughters and sons to be that way. But in the UPK, a mother raises her daughter to be just like this. A mother is a shining example to her son that when he gets older, he should pick a woman just like her. And this is exactly what King Lemuel was learning from his mother back in verse 1. King Lemuel's mother was telling him that this is the type of woman that you should want. This is the type of woman that you should surround yourself with. A virtuous woman just like this. Let's drop down to verse 16. It says, she considereth a field and buyeth it. With the fruit of her hand she planteth a vineyard. Verse 17. She girdeth her loins with strength and strengthen her arms. Now, what does this all mean? She considers a field and buys it. A virtuous woman goes and shops at different places that thinks will bring her money. Whether it's going around and buying a piece of land because it'll be a good farmland, or whether it's going to see a house and maybe I want to buy this house because I think I can rent it out, make money off of it. This house is run down. It just needs a little love and care and remodeling, and then I can sell this house and flip this house, right? A woman goes out and she considers that this is a good land that will produce a lot of fruits and vegetables to feed my family and to feed the people I love. And with the fruit of her hand, she plants a vineyard. She plants that seed. She does the dirty work to rebuild that house, to get it up and running. Because as the next verse says, she girded up her loins with strength and strengthened her arms. She's not lazy. She's not scared to get dirty. She's not scared to ruin her nails that she just got a petty medi, whatever you want to call it. She puts some strength in her arms. She gets down and dirty and gets to work. She buys a field. She goes and shops for a field. She buys a field. She plants the field herself if she has to. She's not scared of hard work. She goes and looks at different houses and what she thinks will turn a good profit. She finds one. She buys it. She puts a work into remodeling it, refixing it up, selling it, because she's not scared of the hard work. She goes and gets one job. Maybe she gets two jobs. She works it. She labors. She makes that bread. She makes that money. And she's not worried to work those long hours, because she's going to bring it back to her household, to her husband, to make sure her children are taken care of. This woman, she's not worried about her nails getting messed up. This woman, she's not lazy and sitting on her ass on the couch watching Netflix, chilling with some other man that's not her husband. This woman is a hard worker. This woman is not lazy. This woman is about her money. This woman is about her household, and she goes out and finds things to make happen. Just like you're reading about in verse 13 and 17. Verse 18. Proverbs chapter 31, verse 18. She perceiveth that her merchandise is good. Her candle goeth not out by night. Now this woman, she works so hard, she looks at her work. She looks at the body butters that she creates, like Captain Tazariak's rib. And she says to herself, this is some really good stuff. It smells wonderful. It has all these wonderful ingredients. This is good. This is good to sell. She looks at the soap that she makes, like General Mahaiman's rib, Sister Kalam from Kalam's Essentials. She looked at the different types of soap, what kind of soap she wants to make. She wants to put, mango butter in it, coconut butter in it. She wants to put turmeric in it. She wants to put essential oil. She wants to make it healthy to the skin for people that may have eczema. She looks at her merchandise and perceives that it is good. Whether she's making beaded jewelry, whether she's making garments and headpieces, whether she's making dresses, this woman looks at the items that she's making and knows that it's good. She thinks to herself this is good because she knows the quality of work she has put into it. And the reason why she perceives it to be good is because her candle goeth not out by night. She's up late at night perfecting her craft. Her candle doesn't go out when it gets to 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock in the morning, 2 o'clock in the morning. This woman is up all hours of the night, making sure whatever she's making, whatever her hands are touching, is perfect, is magnificent. It's organic, it's genuine, it's new, it's fresh, it's wonderful, it's strong, it's sturdy. This type of woman, it cares about the things that she makes. She cares about the integrity and quality of whatever she produces with her hands. And it doesn't matter to her. She'll stay up all hours of the night just to make sure whatever she's doing is perfect. Verse 19. She layeth her hands to the spindle, and her hands hold the distaff. Now, when you look up a spindle, you can see that a spindle was a tool used to make fabric, to make threads. And a distaff was something that the thread or the fabric was tied around for storage, or when they were actually going to use it to make a dress or to make a shirt, to make something. She lays her hands to her spindle, and her hands hold the distaff. She makes her own clothing. Better yet, she makes her own fabric. Better yet, she makes the thread to make the fabric, to make the clothes. She does this from scratch. She goes out and gets the wool and spins it together on the spindle. She goes and takes this wool that she just made, and she ties it around the distaff for storage to use later. This woman, this virtuous woman, women in the I.S.U.P.K, they lay their hands in all types of spindles, whether it's making actual clothing, whether it's making body builders, whether it's making beaded jewelry, whether it's making garments and headpieces with their husband. Women in the I.S.U.P.K, they know how to use their hands to make things come to life, to make clothing, to cook, to braid hair. They know how to do all these things. Proverbs chapter 31, verse 20. She stretcheth out her hand to the poor. Yea, she reacheth forth her hand to the needy. Now, this is another wonderful example of a virtuous woman. Just about every woman that I have ever met or brother that I know who has a rib, it fits them to the T. Because in the I.S.U.P.K, we teach all our members, we teach all the Lord's people that they should love their people. They should love that homeless man or that homeless woman living out in the street. They should love that woman who doesn't have a husband, who's struggling with raising 2 kids. They should love those children that are struggling and going hungry out in the street. This virtuous woman, the women in the I.S.U.P.K, they stretch out their hands to the poor. They reach forth their hands to the needy. These women are constantly donating for food drives that the I.S.U.P.K holds. These women are constantly, donating clothes and making clothes for the I.S.U.P.K clothing drives. These women are constantly dedicating their time to help women that are struggling on how to take care of themselves hygienically. These women are helping to create GED programs. These women are conducting classes online to teach other women how to cook healthy for their children. These type of women, virtuous women, they care about Black, Hispanic, and Native American people who are poor, who are needy, who are living in the streets of Liberty Street in Newburgh, or who are walking up and down the streets on Route 45 or Main Street in Spring Valley, who live in the projects in Yonkers or Mount Vernon, who struggle to find shelter and clothing for their children during the winter months in Orange County or Dutchess County. These are the type of women in the I.S.U.P.K that love their people, and they do everything in their power to help the poor, to help the needy. That's why we have so many food drives. We have so many women dedicating their time to go out and buy canned goods, cook meals, donate old clothing, fix old clothing, sew clothing together, donate shoes and jackets, because these women in the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge have been taught by Commanding General YAHANNA and all the way down that they should love their people. They should love the people who are less fortunate, who are Black, Hispanic, and Native American. And these are the type of virtuous women that you can find in the I.S.U.P.K. And this is the kind of woman that I want. This is my kind of woman. If you're a man out there in the world watching this class right now, whether you're in the I.S.U.P.K or not, this is the kind of woman that you should want as well. And if you're having difficulty finding this kind of woman because you're surrounded by a bunch of evil witches and monsters and warlocks and twerk queens and just do it for the grammars, then maybe you should join the I.S.U.P.K. Change yourself. Change yourself so that way you can be a man of the Lord, and then maybe you might be blessed with a virtuous woman. Maybe you might come across a woman that is all about taking care of the man she wants to be with, the man she hopes to be with, her children, that all she cares about is making sure that the people in her neighborhood don't go hungry. Maybe you too can find a virtuous woman. All right? Proverbs chapter 31, verse 21. She's not afraid of the snow for her household, for all her household are clothed with scarlet. Verse 22. She maketh herself coverings of tapestry. Her clothing is silk and purple. Now, right here, it's talking about how this woman, she's not scared of the weather. She's not scared if it's raining outside, if it's ice rain, if it's extremely hot. She doesn't care if it's snowing outside, because she's gonna make the things that are necessary for her household, for her husband, for her children, to keep them warm, to keep them dry, to keep them safe when they go out there to face those elements. When her husband goes out, or when the man that she wants goes out to camp and it's a little chilly, she already knows that maybe I should make him a scarf to wrap around his neck, so while he goes preaching the word of the Most High and waking up the rest of his people, he can be warm. My daughter and my son, they're going to school and it's raining outside. I should probably learn how to make a raincoat for them. That way they don't get their clothes wet. That way they don't get wet and soaked outside. Her household is clothed with scarlet. She making herself tapestries, coverings of tapestries. Her clothing is silk and purple. Now this woman, she don't buy no Dolce & Gabbana and Louis Vuitton and apple bottom jeans, but she does dress well. She does makes things for herself and for her household that is fashionable, that looks nice, that is appealing. She doesn't have she's not dressed like a bum. She doesn't have her children in ragtag clothing. She puts work in to make sure that she's dressed appropriately, that her husband is dressed righteously, that her children are dressed in the way that children should be dressed. And at the same time, she makes it look good. You know, women like to look nice and to look beautiful and to look pretty. I know I like when a woman dresses beautiful, you know, has her head wrapped, you know, or maybe has her hair down, but she's covering her nakedness, wearing a nice flowy dress, a nice loose dress. You know, maybe some jeans that are appropriate for her, that are not extremely tight, where it takes away the imagination from my mind. You know, I like something like that. That's my kind of woman. That's the kind of woman that every man in the UPK likes. A woman that dresses modestly. A woman that knows how to dress appropriately. Not wearing the skin tight jeans or poom shorts or short shorts to go outside. Or she's wearing a tank top that shows like up to her bottom of her breast. You know, some men, you know, the hormones get a moving and you find that attractive. You know, I understand that if that's your woman and you're in the house. But to see another woman out there in the street, you should already know that that woman needs a lot of work. You should want a woman that's conservative, that she's reserved, that she's not all out there trying to gather attention wearing the new Dolce & Gabbana shoes and sunglasses. You know, that she's not showing her thong outline underneath that Fashion Nova tight pair of pants that she just bought. But a virtuous woman, a woman in the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge, this type of woman, she dresses nice. She dresses wonderfully. Damn, she looks bad, but she's not dressing like a whore. She's not dressing in expensive items where it's or paying the rent. She dresses nice, but she takes care of the things that needs to be taken care of while she still looks nice. All right? Verse 23. Let me see if there's any questions online. All right, let's continue. Proverbs chapter 31, verse 23. Her husband is known in the gates when he sitteth among the elders of the land. Now this is very heavy, you know, because for your women, for you women that are watching this in the I.S.U.P.K, for women who are not in the I.S.U.P.K and are watching this, for you to work so hard, for you to be able to be so virtuous, to have so much skills, for the simple fact that you put in so much work, for the simple fact that you sacrifice so much, people know your husband. because of just off the work that you do. You bring honor to your husband with all the work that you do, to the point where people know who your husband is because of you. People know the house of Tazariak because he has one rib that we have Lily, his rib named Lily, who makes all these wonderful body butters and scrubs and stuff like that. People know the house of General Muhammad because he has a rib named Kalam that makes beautiful and healthy, organic, all natural soaps, right? A man might have a husband, a man might have a sister, a rib that makes the most banging mac and cheese on earth, and every time they bite that every time they eat that mac and cheese, they know that's this person's rib. This woman works so hard that she brings glory to her husband, that people all in the nation, people all over the neighborhood know that that girl, that woman that make this clothing, that woman that donated all this food, that woman that made me this new dress, that woman that donated these canned goods for the food drive, that's her husband right there. That man right there. She belongs to him. She belongs to his house. And when he sits among the elders, when this man is around the brothers, they talk about his wife. They say, "Hey brother, you know what your wife did the other day, bringing in all those canned goods. That was amazing. Most High in Christ to you. You have a virtuous woman. You know that your wife, when she came by to the GED program to help tutor these this 15 or 20 plus people study for their GED. That's extremely applaudable, man. You got a great sister on your hands. They know this brother because of the works that his wife does. And that's the kind of woman I want. That's the kind of woman every single man in the UPK wants. And almost every single man that has been in the UPK has this kind of woman. Brothers who are joining the UPK, knowing that this is the home of the truth, you should look forward to having a woman that's going to honor you and bring you glory, because she works diligently. She works willingly for you, herself, her household. Everything she does glorifies you and your name. And that's the kind of woman I like. That's my kind of woman that's going to put so much work in that people tell me things that I didn't know. Hey, did you know that your wife fed 20 people? Like, what, she did? That's why she asked if she can have $100 so she can go shopping for food. I didn't know that. Thank you. I do have a wonderful wife. I do have a wonderful woman. And what's important about this is that children learn from this as well. A son grows up hanging around his father and hearing other men tell his father, "You have a wonderful wife, Ak. The things that your wife did, Ak, is amazing. It's truly appreciated." A little daughter that grows up around her mother sees her mother doing all this extra stuff, making clothes for herself, making clothes for her daughter, making clothes for the needy, cooking for her daughter, cooking for herself, cooking up food to bring to Thursday scripture breakdown class, to bring to Wednesday law class, to bring to Friday Lashawan Kodash, the holy language class, the holy tongue class. She goes out, her little daughter grows up preparing food with her mother and brings it to the camp on Friday or Saturday to feed the brothers that are waking up the dead. This is extremely important, especially for children, because children are going to grow up hearing about all the great things that their mother did and how much honor it brought to their father. Proverbs chapter 31, verse 24. Slack, my lips a little dry. Proverbs chapter 31, verse 24. She maketh fine linen and selleth it, and delivereth girdles unto the merchant. Now think about this. Your wife is making clothing for you. She's making clothing for herself. She's making clothing for her children. She's probably even making clothing for the people that work with her and her husband. She's making clothing to give to the needy and poor. Now she's making linen, she's making fabric, she's making material, she's making dresses and garments to sell it. To make some money and to bring that money back home to her husband. This woman is so skillful. She makes linen that she makes linen and garments and fabrics that she gives to the merchant. And what does the merchant do? The merchant takes this merchandise and he traveled all over with it to sell it. Now the next thing you know, a person in Westchester County is wearing a shirt that a sister in Rockland County made. A sister down in Texas is wearing a dress that a sister and that lived in Liberty Street in Newburgh just made. Her merchandise, everything she makes and sells, everything she gives to the merchant to sell, now that merchant is selling her items worldwide. And now everyone all over the kingdom, all over the nation is like, yo, I got this from so-and-so's house. Oh, this dress came from the house of Ashar. Oh, this body butter came from the house of Jeremiah Hyman. Oh, these oils came from the house of Tazariah, made by their wives or made by their women. People begin to know of all the great things that this woman makes. She sells it to make sure that she brings that money back home. And by her giving her merchandise to these merchants to sell all over, it just increases the likelihood of other people liking it, of buying it, increasing her income so that way she can just help generate more items to feed her family, to take care of her husband, to take care of her children, to take care of those who work for her, to take care of the poor and needy out in the street. This is a virtuous woman. Verse 25. Strength and honor are her clothing, and she shall rejoice in time to come. This woman, she covers herself with strength and honor. She covers herself. Her clothing is made with obeying the law, statutes, and commandments. Her clothing is made with honoring her husband and doing good by her husband. Her clothing is her not wanting to be recognized for being flashy. She does not clothe herself with people being jealous of all the things she can do. She puts on the cloak of humbleness. She puts on a jacket of righteousness. She puts on a dress of obedience. She puts on a head covering of willingness. You know, she does all these things for honor, not to gain some type of vain glory, but to do the things because it's the right thing to do, and two, she wants to do these things. She's not doing it to be recognized. She's not doing it for recognition. She doesn't care about the recognition. She cares about making sure her husband is taken care of, her children is taken care of, the people that work for her are taken care of. She does it because because she truly and genuinely loves her people to the point where she'll help the poor and needy. She does it because of those reasons. She doesn't brag about, yeah, I just made 3 dresses to give to these sisters. She doesn't go around saying that, yeah, I cooked all this food so y'all can eat. She doesn't go around for that glory. However, she shall rejoice in time to come. When people say this macaroni and cheese is the bomb, who made it? She won't even say it was me. Someone else will say, well, so-and-so's made this. And everyone will say, Tawada says this is amazing. When people ask, well, who made this garment? This garment is wonderful. She's not out there like, yeah, I did that. She's quiet, reserved. She lets other people give her glory. She lets other people acknowledge her work. People tell her husband, what your wife did is amazing. And that gives her joy. To know that she's doing everything possible to bring glory and honor to her head, to her husband, to her household. And you know who appreciates that the most? You know who shows her the most appreciation? Who shows her the most joy? Her husband does. Her husband turns around and says, what you did is amazing. What you did, it was wonderful. I'm glad the Most High gave me a woman such as yourself, because what you do, everything you touch turns to gold. You truly love doing what you're doing, and you don't even care about people recognizing what you're doing. People recognize me because you're my rib, and you doing all these wonderful things. But I want to let you know that you should rejoice. I want you to be happy. What you did made me so happy, made me so proud, gave me glory that you deserve to rejoice off of it. That's a virtuous woman. That right there, that is a virtuous woman. Proverbs 31 verse 26. She openeth her mouth with wisdom, and in her tongue is the law of kindness. Right here, we ain't talking about no Christian women. Because Christian women, when they open their mouth, them bitches ain't speaking with no wisdom. That Christian whore is gonna tell her daughter, you know, you shouldn't limit yourself to just one man. You should get around and see what kind of man is good for you. Basically telling her daughter to be a whore. And her tongue is in the law of kindness. Those evil wrenches in the Christian church, those loud mouth monsters, they always have something nasty to say. Whether it's to each other, talking behind each other's back, more importantly, talking down on their husband. You no good nigga, you dirty spick, you don't bring nothing to this household, you lazy mother effer. This is not a virtuous woman. You won't find that type of a woman in the I.S.U.P.K. We don't want bitches. We want women. We want princesses. We want women who want to come, serve the Lord, and change their life, because when they come into the I.S.U.P.K, these women learn how to open their mouth with wisdom. And what do I mean by that? The women in the Israelite school of U.P.K, when they speak to other women out in the world, they let them know, well, listen, sweetie, you know, maybe you should be honest with your husband. You know, he may get angry, but as long as you were honest with him, you guys can work things out. You know what? You shouldn't take that guy's number, because you already have a man that loves you and cherishes you, and you should be all about your husband. You shouldn't want a boyfriend number 2. You should be satisfied with boyfriend number 1, who is your man, and you should do everything to take care of him. The women in the I.S.U.P.K, whenever they open up their mouth, some type of wisdom comes out. Well, like, listen, instead of using this type of stitching pattern, use this type of stitching pattern. Use this many stitches, because they'll hold your clothing tighter. It'll make you won't be able to see the thread in your dress. You know, a woman in the U.P.K opens her mouth with wisdom and says, well, listen, let me show you how to make this recipe, because I know you said your husband liked the recipe, and when he ate my mac and cheese, well, let me show you how to make the same mac and cheese, so that way you can make it for your husband. And when he comes home, he's happy with you because you made the most banging mac and cheese. That's the kind of woman in the U.P.K. Whenever she opens her mouth with some type of wisdom to give good advice, not the type of advice that they give women in the Christian church, where women in the Catholic church tell their daughters. That's not wisdom. Cheating on your man and sleeping around with men, that's not wisdom. That's bad advice. But women in the U.P.K, they give wonderful advice. They tell other sisters, well, you know, when your husband is speaking, you should shut your mouth. You should let him finish speaking, let him finish saying what he has to say, and wait for him to ask you, now I want to know what you think. You shouldn't be all down his throat. And that's wisdom. And in her tongue is the law of kindness. And women in the I.S.U.P.K, of course, you know, men and their women argue every now and then. It's normal. But the law but in her tongue is the law of kindness. Women in the I.S.U.P.K are always speak kindly to other women in the U.P.K. And if they don't, if they find out that they're not, it will be sought out. And you will have to answer on why you're being rude and dishonorable to your husband. It will find out why you're being disrespectful and unbrotherly and unsisterly to your sister by speaking evil and rude to them. But in the U.P.K, we teach sisters how to speak kindly to each other, how to say sweet things to their husband. The husband's having a rough day. They tell their husband, "Don't worry, honey, it's gonna be okay. I know you're working hard. Don't worry about it. Tomorrow's another day." They tell other women who are struggling, "Well, don't worry, sis. This is it took me a while to learn how to make the perfect head wrap. It took me a while how to make these beaded jewelry. It took me a while how to make this soap from scratch. Don't worry. It's just gonna take some time. Just ask me for help. I'm more than happy to help you." This is the type of women that we produce, that are produced in the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge. Because Commanding General YAHANNA raises up princesses. He turns evil, wicked women in the world that come into the school and turns them into princesses. Helps them grow up to be wonderful and honorable and virtuous women of Zion, daughters of Zion. Proverbs chapter 31, verse 27. Proverbs chapter 31, verse 27. She looketh well to the ways of her household, and eateth not the bread of idleness. This woman, like I said in the beginning, she is not sitting on her ass watching Netflix. She's not watching Love and Hip Hop, Basketball Edition. She's not watching Housewives of Atlanta. She's not leaving the dishes in the sink. She looks after the ways of her household. If she's home and she has nothing to do, she's going around making sure the room that her husband and her sleep in is clean, that the room that her children sleep in are clean, the living room clean, bathroom clean, kitchen clean, laundry's done, dishes done. She's busy lighting incense and spraying wonderful smells in the house to make the house smell good. She's opening up the windows to get some fresh air in. She's going out into the supermarket, figuring out what she wants to make for her family today. She's at home working, making her husband a new headpiece, making a new pair of pants for her son, making a new dress for her daughter. She's not eating the bread of idleness. She's not lazy. She looks. She doesn't have to be told. She looks for things to do in her house, or what could be better. That little bit of grime in the corner of the bathroom tile has been there for a while and it's been bothering me. I want to make sure I get that sucker out. Let me go find some bubble scrub or some Shout or whatever, or some Comet, Ajax Comet, to go get that little grime out. She's constantly looking for things to do. She's constantly looking to improve the life of her household. She's constantly looking to increase and magnify her husband. That's a virtuous woman. Proverbs 31 and verse 28. Proverbs chapter 31, verse 28. Her children arise up and call her blessed, her husband also, and he praise her. Now, for women who do have children, this virtuous woman that does have children, when her children get up, they see that their clothes are already ironed. They see that they have breakfast already made for them to eat. They see that there's lunch already packed for them for school. Like so many women in the U.P.K I know, who wake up before the sun is even out and already get their daughters up, get their daughters dressed, cook meals for their daughter, shovel snow to be able to take their daughter to school, their sons to school. When her children get up, They call their mother blessed. They praise their mother. They say, Mom, you're amazing. You're a super mom. The clothes already ironed. I got my clothes on. I'm hungry. Oh, breakfast is already made. What I'm gonna eat for lunch? Oh, you got a salmon sandwich already made. You got some fresh red and orange bell peppers chopped up nicely. You got some organic gelatin-free peanut butter and jam or peanut butter and jelly sandwiches with the crust cut off or cut into little squares or triangles already made for them for lunch. When the children get up, they love their mother. They're happy with their mother. Their mother does everything so much that they love their mother. Her husband, when he gets up, his clothes are already set for him. When the warm bath waters, the shower is already running for him. Coffee is already made for him. For me, I like tea. I like some pineapple tea, some strawberry cocoa tea, something like that. I like tea. But this virtuous woman, she got her husband's coffee already brewing, already on the pot, already made to go. Got him breakfast, got him lunch already, had his clothes already set out for him to wear. And when he gets up, he's just so happy. He goes and gives his wife a kiss. He tells her how amazing she is. He was thinking about having fresh honeydew slices and eggs for breakfast today, and somehow she read his mind, and boom, he has fresh honeydew slices and eggs made for him for breakfast. He praises her because of how he praises her because she wakes up early before everyone and makes sure that her entire family is taken care of. That's a virtuous woman. All right? Let's go down to verse 29. It says, many daughters have done virtuously, but thou excellest them all. Let that sit for a while. Many daughters have done virtuously, but thou excellest them all. But you exceed them all. When King Lemuel was learning this, he was learning, his mother was teaching him all the things that a woman should be like. All the things that a virtue that defines and makes up and constitutes a virtuous woman. And this is what King Lemuel should look for when he's looking for a wife. This is what every single brother should look for when they're looking for a wife. I know this is what I'm looking for. Everything we've been reading is my kind of woman. And I know she's out there. I know she's there. A virtuous woman that'll be perfect for me. However, many daughters have done virtuously. Many women fit this description. But thou excellest them all. This particular woman has done everything that these other virtuous women have done, but she does it more. When all the virtuous women stay up to 3 and they're tired and fall asleep, Salakia. When all the virtuous women are tired and they fell asleep, this woman that excels them all stood up 2 extra hours. When all the virtuous women made food to feed 100 people, this virtuous woman that excelled them all made food to feed 300 people, 400 people. This woman who donated 50 cans of canned goods for the food drive, the virtuous woman that exceeded them all, donated 200 cans. And this is how every woman in the I.S.U.P.K should be like. Yes, you want to be a virtuous woman, but you want to be a virtuous woman above them all. You want to go above and beyond. you're only able to bring 25 cans of canned goods to the food drive. That's fine. Bring everything you can. But if you bring 10 cans of food, 10 canned goods of food, when you could have brought 25, you should bring that 25. You're still a virtuous woman for bringing those 10 cans of canned goods. But you know that you definitely were able to bring those 25 cans. You should have brought those 25 cans. It's talking about women that you should want to go above and beyond just regular, normal duties of a woman. You want to go beyond just a regular wife. You want to go beyond the duties of just being a regular parent, a regular mother. You want to go above and beyond. Because every man in the UPK wants a woman, wants a wife that's going to go above and beyond. All right? Proverbs chapter 31, verse 30. Favor is deceitful, and beauty is vain. But a woman that feareth the Lord, she shall be praised. Now favor, being liked, being, always seeking approval, wanting to fit in, wanting other women to like you, wanting other people to like the things you do, is deceitful, is dishonest, is false, is fake. Who cares what other people think of you? The only thing that you should be caring about is you obeying the Lord and you being obedient to your husband. That's the only thing you should be caring about. How to please your husband, how to bring more glory to your husband, because that's honorable. That's you fearing the Lord, you doing things to bring your husband honor. You obeying the laws of God, which will bring your husband honor. Beauty is vain. Looking good, what's the point? What's the point of wearing Dolce & Gabbana sunglasses, Louis Vuitton pants, red bottom shoes, a Fendi belt, whatever name brand shirt? What's the point of looking good and dressing all expensive and making sure your hair, you got the weave put in, the front lace, and it's stitched in or glued on? I don't know. However you women do that crap. What's the point of all that? What's the point of looking good? What's the point of trying to impress people with the latest fashion? It's pointless. It's worthless. What's the point of you wearing Dolce & Gabbana shoes when there's no food in your fridge for your children? What's the point in wanting to constantly talk to this woman on the phone and let her know that if she needs someone to talk to, she can talk to you, so that way she can like you? What's the point of getting that approval when you didn't use your husband's money to pay the rent? What's the point of all that? It's pointless. It's worthless. It has no value. It's a waste of time. It's BS. It's garbage. But what is important, what a virtuous woman will do, what a virtuous woman keeps in her mind, is her fearing the Lord, her obeying the Most High God, her following the law, statutes, and commandments, because she will be praised. She'll be praised in how diligently she obeys the laws of God. She'll be praised in how she takes care of her husband, how she honors her husband, how she takes care of her children, how she takes care of her household. That type of woman will be praised. All right, in the last verse, Proverbs chapter 31, verse 31. But before we go, I want to post a sign-out sheet. Everyone that's been in class, I'm going to post a sign-out sheet for attendance so you can sign out, log out. All right. Proverbs chapter 31, verse 31. Give her of the fruit of her hands, and let her own works praise her in the gates. Give her of the fruit of her hands, and let her works praise her in the gates. This woman will see the benefits of all her hard work. This woman will be spoken about highly, with great esteem, with high esteem for all the things that she does. Her husband will be honored and magnified because of all the work and sacrifice and dedication that his wife does. She let the fruit of her works glorify her. Let her hard work bring her praise. And this is what a virtuous woman is like. This is what a virtuous woman should be like. This is what every daughter in the Israelite school of universal practical knowledge is or is training to become. This is how this is the kind of woman I want. This is the kind of woman every man in the Israelite school of universal practical knowledge wants. A woman that is about her business. A woman that is not lazy. A woman that gives wisdom to other women, that speaks kindly to her husband. A woman that's all about making her husband happy, making her children happy, making sure there's food on the table, bringing home money back to her husband so that way they can grow their family and grow their household. That's a virtuous woman. That's the kind of woman I want. And I'm sure there's a woman out there watching right now that fits that same description, and that's the woman I want. I'm sure there's sisters out there that fit that same description, and there's brothers that are looking just for her. There's brothers that want that same woman, women just like her, that are virtuous, that are all about honoring their husband and making their household stronger. That's a virtuous woman. All right? Now, before we go, I want to make sure everyone, log out for class. The attendance sheet has already been posted. Steve Calderon, no sweat, man. I look forward to being able to help everyone, wake up to the truth and learn how to conduct themselves properly, to learn what's good and what's not good for them. I do this because I'm supposed to do it. I love doing this because I love being in a position to help raise my people up. And I thank the men before me for setting the greatest examples for me to be like. I thank the Most High God for allowing us to have Yahawashi, who the world calls Jesus, be the most perfect example of how we should be like. And I'm grateful the Lord has allowed me to no longer sleep and be in the world and to do the job of a priest that I'm supposed to be doing. All right. Now, a couple of reminders. Don't forget, April 9th, the Hudson Valley, we will be hosting the Lord's 51st Passover. The water to command and Jerry YAHANNA for seeing fit for the Hudson Valley to be hosting the Lord's 51st Passover. Captain Cesaric, has raised up, great brothers like Officer Shalayala and myself, where we are trained and pushed to go out and take ground and cover ground and steal our people from these churches, where we can go out into the Hudson Valley and wake up our brothers and sisters all over the Hudson Valley, Westchester County, Rockland County, Orange, Dutchess, Putnam. I thank the Most High for giving us a great person to model ourselves after, Captain Tazariak, so that we can continue to do the Lord's work. And because of that, we're going to be hosting New York, the Hudson Valley. We're going to be hosting the Lord's 51st Passover, April 9th. Make sure you pay your Passover fund, $100 per person. If you are over the age of 17, that's $100 per person. If you are under the age of 17, it is absolutely free. Now, keep in mind, we're not the Christian church. Keep in mind, we're not some fake Israelite group. If you sincerely cannot pay your Passover fund, you won't be turned away. If you sincerely don't have the full amount to pay for yourself, your wife, your 18-year-old son, and the rest of your children, don't worry about it. You will not be turned away. Commanding General YAHANNA does not turn away his people who sincerely and generally make the best effort and take the most efforts to do the right thing. Hell, if it was left to Commanding General YAHANNA, no one would have to pay. But because of a wise man by the name of General Muhammad, he always had to make sure that, you know, Commanding General YAHANNA is not being taken advantage of. And that's a great brother that looks after his brother, who's so sincere, who loves his people so genuinely, is not being taken advantage of. So if you can't pay your Passover fund, speak to your camp leader, let them know, inform them. Because there's brothers like myself, there's virtuous women who are watching this video right now who would gladly donate money just so that way you can attend. There's brothers out there that will work an extra day just so that way they can give you funds so that way you can make it to the Passover. And Commanding General YAHANNA is not going to be turning away his people. Christ didn't turn away the needy and poor. So Commanding General YAHANNA knows that he will never do the same either, that he will never do the opposite. Commanding General YAHANNA does exactly what Christ did. And we learn to do exactly what Christ did because we follow Commanding General YAHANNA. So April 9th, the Hudson Valley, we're honored to host the Lord's 51st Passover. It's going to be at the Westchester County Center in White Plains. Make sure you are there. If you are Israel, you are obligated to come. It is a law for you to come. It is your duty to come. We want to see all so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans to be at the Lord's 51st Passover, April 9th. It doesn't matter if you're in the Catholic Church, the Muslim mosque, the Christian church, if you're in some fake Israelite group, you are expected and you are ordered to gather together and come to the Lord's 51st Passover. Whether you're that door boy on the corner, whether you're that woman that strips on the stripper pole, you should be coming to the Lord's Passover. That's come and make the first step to change your life. And with that, I'm Priest and Officer Shagapan of the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge. Started out at 1 West 125th Street, Harlem, New York, under Commanding General YAHANNA. And Officer Shalayala and myself have the honor to be running the Hudson Valley School of the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge, raising the dead up here out in Newburgh, White Plains, Yonkers, Poughkeepsie, Pomona, Spring Valley, West Nyack, Haverstraw, Harriman, Peekskill, Fishkill. We're more than happy to be going out there, going to war to save our people out in the Hudson Valley. And with that, to my brothers, Shalom, Yahweh B'Hashem Yahushua Baruch Thumb. To my sisters, Yahweh Shamar Alatham B'Hashem Yahushua. Shalom, Israel.